Okay, so here we want to learn about what is basically an enumerator. Enumerator is basically something that allows to enumerate over multiple items. It could be any collection, for example. So let's start from a very basic example. We have like multiple boxes here, and these boxes we can color them into very different colors. Okay, so what we want to try to find here, let's say that we want to find a box with a specific color. So if we want to find a box with a specific color, obviously we want to move from the very start, and then we need to move over the collection until we meet the condition that is true. So basically enumerator, it allows us to basically access the current element, that is, for example, the starting. If we start from the start, there is like the very first, that is the current, that is pointing to current element. Then we can move to the next element, that is basically the second functionality of the enumerator. And the third is that we can reset the whole iteration to the very beginning, that's basically the start. So in the following example, we have, like, you can say 8 boxes, and in these 8 boxes we have we have very different colors. And in these different colors, what we're trying to do, we're trying to find a box that has yellow color. So when that condition is met, we want to stop the iteration. So in that case, what we're going to do, we're going to start the iteration. So the current pointer, or the current, it's going to point at the very start of our first index. Okay, so our first index is basically the current. Okay, and then the move next is basically pointing at the index 2. Okay, so the condition that we want to check is that if the box is yellow. So if we're going to check this condition over here, obviously the box is not yellow, we're going to move to the next. So current is going to move to the move next, and move next is going to move further to the 3 index. Okay, to the third box, the blue box, sky blue. So in that case, they are going to move to the next box. And similarly, in that case, the condition in our second iteration is obviously not true, so we're going to move to the next one, and until we reach the yellow box, that is the 6th box. So that condition is true. When the condition is true, we can do whatever we want. And that's basically the point where our condition is met. We can even reset the iteration if we want to start the iteration again. And using enumerator, it's not necessary that you use the same kind of objects. You could use any kind of, for example, the collection could be of anything. It could be, for example, it's not necessary that data type should be same. For example, from this example, you could say that they're all looks almost the same, even rectangular boxes. They could type of objects that we want to iterate over these, for which we can use the enumerator. It means that we could use any kind of objects, and enumerator can work on them. We just need a collection, a bunch of items that we want to iterate, and when we met our condition, we can just go ahead. Let's come back into the Unity and try to implement the enumerator into the Unity. How does it really work in our Unity project? So we'll start by creating a C# script, and I'll prefer to name it as the learn script. So in the learn script, what we're going to do, we are just going to create a list of an items. Okay, so the data type is basically the object. It could be any game object present in our scene. And then in our start method, what we're doing here is that we're taking a list items. Basically, it's basically of numerators, and then we are assigning items to the list items. And what we're doing next, we're just moving to the next item. As we learned previously, that in a numerator we can have our current. We can view the current item, we can move to the next, and we can reset. Okay, so while list item don't move next, it means that while we haven't reached at the end of the list, we just need to go on. Okay, and we want to debug.load. Basically, we are displaying here the name of our game object. Okay, going back into the Unity, just creating a very basic, that's basically a project that I just downloaded. The environment is basically downloaded from the Unity asset store, and then I just created a script game object here and added the script learn that game object, and now I am taking some random objects from the environment, and then I'm going to put this into the Unity, into the script, sorry. After displaying the all name, we want to make a condition here, and in that condition, what we want to check here is that if there is a certain item and the name of an item is like trees or whatever, then if the condition is met, we just want to display the name of that item. For that, first of all, we have to cost the item, because the list item is basically of type enumerators. So before that, we basically need to uh, create a new item with the name basically of type game objects, and then we can check if the item name is basically tree, then you can just debug the log that I have found or whatever you want to say. It's just a log. Obviously, when we are just iterating, we need to do something with those iterations. Okay. Numerator in Unity, basically it's basically an interface, and we have methods here, and we have an object that is pointing to the current item, and then we have move next and reset methods, and we are just that we can implement in our class, and it's basically used for iteration, but in Unity it is used with coroutines, and how what's basically a coroutine and how enumerator works with the coroutine. Let's just understand that. So moving forward with the coroutines, just forget about what coroutines are. Let's try to take a real life example. And here is a painting, or you can just, sorry, I draw something. I know it's really not very nice, but let's just focus on what basically this beautiful picture is trying to tell us. Okay, so there is an actor, and next to the actor there is a wall, okay, or there is a curtain, you can say. The actor is going to come onto the stage. It will take, for example, actor to reach onto the stage for 4 seconds. After 4 seconds, we want to turn on the light, and the duration for this whole process is 2 seconds. And once the light is turned on, we want to play the music. That will take just a 1 second. So there are like sequence of events that we want to play. And the first event, actor walking onto the stage, the second turning on the light, and the third and final playing the music. Obviously that happens when we go on just watching a movie or some sort of things like that. That happens. So what is coroutine is basically a sequence, right? We have a sequence of events, and we really don't want to play them one at all. We want to pause one event for a time. We want to delay some events, and then we want first event to execute, and after the execution of first event, we want to move on to the further one. But after some time, we want to pause, we want to delay, and then we want to resume that action again, right? So this is basically the whole concept of coroutine. What's basically the purpose of coroutine? So if we consider using coroutine into the Unity, what coroutine is basically has to do with numerator. Okay, so numerator was something where we use why the return type of coroutine is enumerator, because enumerator help us to iterate over multiple collection. Okay, it could be like events, it could be a collection of items, it could be anything. So with the help of enumerator, we can iterate over events, but with delay, with time. We can delay some specific events. Here, if we come back into the Unity and we want to check, for example, what we're trying to do here, I created a character that's just a capsule, nothing else. I want to change the color of the capsule, and that color changing is basically, that's just very simple. We are going to get the color, we are going to get the color material. Changing the color is very basic. We are going to just get the material of the character, material component, and then we're going to change the color and applying it. That's basically how we change the color of objects in Unity. Okay, so here you can see the change color is basically our coroutine, and inside that we put a delay of 3 seconds. We don't want to really change the color at the very soon as the function is called. So we want to change the color after some delay, like the actor entering into the stage after some time, and then light turning on, and then the music, right? So here, getting the mesh render component and changing the color. So in that update function, if we press the space, what we want to do, we just want to change the color of our game object, but not very suddenly. We want to pause for 3 seconds, we want to wait for 3 seconds, and we want to resume the function again. Okay, and let's see how it works in Unity. Okay, the color is changed to red. Okay, but it was not exactly changed to red. When I press the button, it wait for 3 seconds and then change the color of the player. So we can also see something related to it. I can just copy the code and paste it like again and again. I can change the color to some else color. For example, changing the color of the player to yellow. But after some time, when the color is changed to red, I want to change the color again to some else color. Let's say yellow. So basically, what we did here is that we used the coroutine in order to change the color of our character with some delay. So right now, I want to move my character left and right, and I put the main camera inside so that it can follow the player. So after changing the color, I want to move my character, and that's very basic. You can just translate the character to the left and to the right. There's something that is called wait for seconds method inside the coroutine. As you can see, yield return new. The yield return statement, what is that? It paused the coroutine for how much time, that is, for how much seconds it's written here, right? So instead of wait for seconds, we could write our own custom methods here, right? And we can write down whatever parameters, whenever we want the condition to be met and we want to resume the coroutine, we can do here, right? It's not necessary that we write just wait for seconds here or some other methods here, null, yield return null. So we could write down some of our own custom methods here, right? And here, after writing it down, inside the update, if I press the A key, then I want my character to move. Let's go back into the Unity and see. Okay, so pressing the key works. The character is moving. The character was moving too fast, so we have to change the time. So as you can see that both coroutines are working in parallel. So the color changing, if I press the first one, like for the movement of the character, that's A, and then the second one is basically moving the character left, right, and then the up. So that's how it's working. A countdown timer, that's another approach. Most of the time we use a coroutines for a countdown. So that's also very simple. We just need to have a text message pro inside that, and for the countdown, we need to just write down the code. Here we need to get the component or text message pro component. And while the timer we need to is greater than 0, we need to just print what's the time here. And we need to delay it just for 1 second. Now you can see that the character is moving left, right, but the time is not really changing at all. Okay, so the key was not changed. It's like C now. Okay, so the function was exactly the same. When pressing C, it was against moving the player. We need to just check what's the countdown function. We need to write in the coroutine countdown. Now let's see how it works. Yeah, so in Unity, coroutines are passive if you want to use them for the countdown timers, if you want to delay some events basically, and you want to add something, you want to add an effect, you want to do something, you want to delay, pause, resume, and do something in sequence. Coroutines are the best for that. That was a very, very basic introduction of what are the coroutines and what are enumerators, how they're related, because most of the time you will be asked why it's written numerator. Most of the time you will be asked what's an enumerator in an interview, especially in an interview question. So it's better just to do some, it's better that you know like what's the function of enumerator, what's basically an enumerator, and it's an interface, and it has to do a lot of things with the iteration. And in Unity, enumerator is basically used with coroutines to iterate over multiple events, but with some delay. We can resume it, we can pause the events, and all that. These are the things that happen. And coming to the coroutine, we have like wait for some time, we can wait for some time. And yield return statement, what it does, it pauses the iteration to the seconds that are mentioned, and if the seconds are not mentioned, it just does what's the line is saying there, or whatever is written there. We could also replace the wait for the method that is written with the yield return, and we can write down our own custom methods. So that's basically all what we can do with the coroutines.